Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Thirumavalavan Srinivasan. In this video, I will show you how to create Amazon EC2 Mac instance and connect to it via SSH. Let me quickly introduce about myself. Currently I am working as a solutions architect and I have over 17 years IT industry experience. I am also an Amazon Partner Network Ambassador for Northern America region. Currently I hold 8 valid AWS certifications. Enough about myself. Let me quickly talk about Amazon EC2 Mac instance. Amazon EC2 Mac instance for macOS are available since December 2020. It is built on Apple Mac mini computers. EC2 Mac instances enable customers to run on-demand macOS workloads in the AWS cloud. With EC2 Mac instances, developers creating apps for iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and Safari can now provision and access macOS environments within minutes, dynamically scale capacity as needed, and benefit from AWS's pay-as-you-go pricing. There are some limitations with Amazon EC2 Mac instances. For example, Amazon EC2 Mac instances are available only in specific regions, namely US East Northern Virginia, US East Ohio, US East Oregon, EU Ireland, and Asia Pacific Singapore. Currently it is available only on these AWS regions. Mac instances are available only as bare metal instances on dedicated host, with a minimum allocation period of 24 hours before you can release the dedicated host. You can launch one Mac instance per dedicated host. You can share the dedicated host with the AWS accounts or organizational units within your AWS organization or the entire AWS organization. Mac instances are available only as on-demand instances or as part of savings plan for 1 or 3 years. They are not available as spot instances or reserved instances. Mac instances run either macOS version 10.14 or macOS version 10.15. AWS does not manage or support internal SSD on the Apple hardware. It is recommended to use Amazon EBS volumes instead. EBS volumes provide the same elasticity, availability, and durability benefits on Mac instances as they do on any other EC2 instances. For optimal EBS performance, it is recommended to use general purpose SSD, that is GB2 or GP3, or provisioned IOPS SSD, that is IO1 or IO2 with Mac instances. If you attach an EBS volume or a network interface to a running Mac instance, do remember to reboot the instance to make the volume or network interface available. We cannot use Mac instances with Amazon EC2 auto-scaling now. Automatic software updates are disabled. It is recommended to apply updates and test them on our instance before we put the instance into production. Enough of theory. Now let's log into AWS Management Console and see how we can create Amazon EC2 Mac instance. I have now logged into my AWS Management Console and I'm currently in US East or Northern Virginia region. I'm going to change it to US West 1, US West 2 Oregon region. US West to Oregon region is one of the region where Mac instances are supported. The reason I have changed from US East 1 to US West 2, AWS Mac instances are in high demand on US East 1 region, and most of the time we will get insufficient capacity error, and that's the reason I have changed to Oregon region. And let's go to EC2. If you have recently visited EC2, it should be available under recently visited services. If not, you can click on services and under compute, click on EC2. Before we create the Mac instance, we need to create dedicated host. I have already created a dedicated host in this region because I'm worried we would get insufficient capacity error. So I have created the dedicated host in advance. But I'll show you how to create that. And one more thing to note here is if your AWS account is brand new, you will have an error because by default the quota limit for dedicated host is 0 and you need to file a service ticket to increase it. So I have already filed a service ticket and increased my quota limit, and after that I'm able to create the dedicated host for Mac instance. This is the one that I have created. I will show you my host instance here. This is the host ID and I have created an US West 2A availability zone. The instance family is Mac1, instance type is Mac1.metal, and the state is available. And this one, once you create the dedicated host, it is for you for 24 hours, and so it's charged for 24 hours. So you need to be aware of that. So let me go back to dedicated host and show you how to create it. So you can click on allocate dedicated host and you can name it anything, and for the instance family you need to select Mac1 here from the drop down list. Once you select Mac1, the support multiple instance type is disabled by default because we can create only one Mac instance from this. It's sharing is not supported. We cannot create multiple Mac OS instances from this host. One host, one instance. And instance type is going to be Mac1.metal. You can see that it's 12 vCPU and 32 gig memory. And for the availability zone, choose any one which is convenient to you, but if you receive insufficient capacity error, you may need to change the availability zone to the one where you have enough capacity where you can create the Mac instance. Once you select the availability zone, and you can select instant auto placement, you can enable this one. And host recovery, I'm not going to select it, I haven't selected for my host. And then select the quantity. Once everything is done, you can click on allocate. Just remember, you may get insufficient capacity error. So that's the reason I have already created the dedicated host. Now we can go ahead and create instance. Click on instances and launch instance. Here, as I have already explained in the slides, we have two variants of Mac OS, 10.14 and 10.15. Let's go ahead and select that Catalina 10.15.7. Once you select that, you can see that instance family Mac1 is enabled. That's the only instance family available right now. Everything else is grayed or disabled. Let's go to next. So number of instances, it's 1. And network, I'm going to create it in my default VPC, and I don't have any preference here. And auto assign IP address, I'm just going to create a public IP address, enable. Let's go down. And tenancy, it's a dedicated host, and so launch this instance on a dedicated host. And we need to select the dedicated host, actually, whatever we have created. And under host, select, and this is our dedicated host that I have already created. If you haven't created, you have an option to create it right here as well. Allocate a new host, but since we have already done that step, I'm just going to select that and leave everything else as default. Next, go to storage. I'm going to leave that as a default, 30 gig, good enough. And I'm not going to add a tag at the moment. And for the security group, I'm going to create a new one I'm going to name it as Mac security group. Same for the comment. For the custom TCP port range, we need to select port 22 to SSH to that instance. And source, you can say, at the moment I'm going to say anywhere, or if you want to restrict it, you can give my IP address. In the real world, you want to give my IP address, you may want to restrict it to your IP address, but I'm going to not delete this instance after this demo, so I'm just going to say anywhere for now and go with this. Yep, it's giving a warning. It's wide open to the internet. I understand that. Go next and click on launch, and we don't have a key pair and we may want to create a new one. Create a new pair. I'm just naming it as Mac key pair. Download it. Okay, once you have downloaded, we can just click on launch instance, and it is going to take a while, so I'm just going to pause this video and come back once this instance is ready and when we are able to connect to it. Instance, it is initializing, and even though it says it's running, it would take a while, so I'm just going to pause and then come back once everything is ready. Now the Mac instance is available, the status is running, and the status check is completed. It's green, it's successful. Let's click on the instance ID, and it's going to give us the public IPv4 address. And to connect to it, if you just click on connect, it's going to give you, like, the username for the Mac instance is EC2-user and the public IP address. We can connect to it using the key pair that we have created while launching the instance. I have already logged into that instance. Here it is. Here is the command that I have used to SSH, and then input file is the key pair file that we have created. And since it is a PuTTY session, we have to convert it to PPK file. It's the same way that how we usually connect to any EC2 instance using PuTTY. And then the username is EC2-user and IP address. We have connected to this instance, and we can see the private IP address is 172.31.26.250. You can confirm that. It is 172.31.26.250. Yep, that's right. We have now seen how to create AWS EC2 Mac instance and connect it to it using SSH. Hope you would find this video useful. In the next video, I will show you how to connect to the Mac instance using VNC viewer to the GUI Mac instance graphical user interface. Thank you.